Hey, it's April from the Noble Garden. Today, I want to come in the garden and start clearing it out of the spring crops. A lot of this left is stuff that's going to flower or stuff we've already taken the heads off, like the cabbages, the cauliflowers, the broccolis, because I want to be able to replant this for the summer. So let's get started on getting some of the stuff out. This poor broccoli plant here is most definitely coming out. I'm going to go ahead and cut off all like the little baby heads, because we eat them in salads. I do put them in my farmer's market batch. Tomorrow is our real harvest day, so some of this is gonna kind of go toward that. So my kids will be happy, it'll be less stuff for them to have to pull out. I'm the world's worst of using garden gloves. It's okay, I'm really not afraid of dirt, but it does make me quite dirty. All right, so I pulled out some of those. I'm gonna show you guys some things. So this guy is just now forming a head. I'm gonna watch him. I can pull this one up. This one doesn't even have side shoots, so I'm most definitely gonna pull it up. I went to go pull this one, and then I realized he actually has a little baby cauliflower, so he will stay. Now that I have all the plants out, I'm gonna go around and pick all the weeds, and then I've got to smooth out the soil and decide if it needs more soil. If I do decide it needs more soil, the soil that we use on our second garden beds aren't completely broken down like this, and we're having some trouble with nitrogen lockup. So if I do decide, I think I want to push the good soil on the top, back, put the new soil and then push the old soil back on top. And the reason why is because this is really loose and broken down. I do believe it's better soil over here. And I think that's why a lot of these plants have done way better than the other side. I will say my efforts to unlock the nitrogen might be working, and I can take you guys over there shortly and show you guys. But until then, let me just work on getting some of this taken out so I can put new crops over here. So here we have it, guys. A good portion of the first bed is weeds picked, dead plants picked. After looking at this and playing with the soil, I think the level is fine. what I'm going to be doing is resting the soil in the fall. So I'm just going to either put this extra soil I have over there on top and let that decompose, or I could put leaves in it. But once I do that, that will add extra soil to it. I also have my compost piles. So for now, I think I'll just use this. Now, I get asked a lot, like in between planting, what do I put in my soil? I really do use worm castings, but I do see a lot of actual earthworms in here. And so I'm thinking that it has worm castings in it. I've been able to plant and not have to do anything. And I think that's just decomposing everything that's going on in there. But if I do see that I need something, I can also use fish emulsion. So I have some organic options. So now you're probably asking me what's going to go in this bed. So my husband very much is a very organized guy, and he wants like all one crop in one bed, and I do not. I like it intercropped is what it's called. So I am going to intercrop this side. The garden behind me is not very intercropped and it's having some bug issues, and I have one bed that's intercropped and it's not having the bug issues. So it's kind of like a test out, you know, that bed is not intercropped, so most of this over here will be. That being said, let me show you my plans. So this end right here, I had already started putting some cucumbers. You can see them, that's popped up. So I'm gonna put cucumbers all on this line here. And then on the other side, I'm gonna put squash zucchini. I'm just curious. The other thing I wanna show you guys is that I have some volunteer tomato plants. I think there's 3 of them total. There's another one on the end there. And that's because this was the tomato bed last year, so I'm going to let them stay. And then on the back row, I'm going to do okra. Because of my studying, I do know not to intercrop any corn where tomatoes are going to be. So I'm not going to mess with corn over here because I found 3 of those tomatoes. And like I said, I'm going to leave them in here. I just can't take them out. I think it's pretty cool that they were reseeded themselves. So yeah, I'm going to let them just stay and see what happens. So before we go and plant those things I'm talking about, I wanted to kind of show you guys what my squash and zucchini are doing after my interventions. So you're going to see, this is a zucchini plant. This one is trying to make a comeback. And I have several of them that are. They got new green leaves on them. And then you're going to see some like this that are struggling more. But I am starting to see some green. Once I see more green leaves, I'm going to take off the bad leaves. And then you see a guy like this who I don't think is going to make it. To be decided. This guy, shocking enough, is growing new green leaves, and I didn't know what he would do. This guy's even got a flower. He's still pale, though. Now, my zucchini side is doing better than my squash side. But they were nitrogen locked up. And I fertilized them with fish emulsion. I turned around and gave them watered down Epsom salt. And then we've been treating it for these cucumber beetles that are like tearing them apart. So this guy's still pale. But look how green that guy's gotten. So some of them are very pale. But if you look down below, their new leafage is green. I've also haven't seen a lot of those beetles out here. So hopefully I'm winning that battle. Some look better than others. Like this one looks like really, really bad. And I don't see any green growing in him. So he might actually be a goner. Along with this guy. I don't feel like they're doing as good as the squash on the other side. But I haven't given up hope yet. Alright. Let's get to planting what I told you was going to go in this bed. So in this little section here, I'm going to put a couple more cucumbers in. So I know for a fact I put these in, and these are salt and pepper, which is a yellow cucumber. So now I'm going to put in, and I tried and it didn't come up, but I'm going to go ahead again and put my Sumter in, because Sumter is my favorite. They didn't populate. The next thing I'm going to do is on the other side, I'm going to put squash zucchini, raw zucchini. zucchini type I am deciding to do is the Ford hook. So the squash, I have two options. I have the early prolific straight neck and the early golden summer. I'm gonna do the golden summer because I'm pretty sure I put the straight neck in other places. All right. On the other side, I won't make you guys watch that necessarily, but I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna put okra in. I have two types of okra as well. I bought this Murmis okra because even when it gets to be bigger okra, it's supposed to still be tender and not woody when you eat it. And it's also supposed to be very, very prolific. And then the other okra I have is Hill Country Red. So those are the two okra brands I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna put that all in the back row. If you guys have followed me enough, you know the other thing I do to intercrop with is basil and marigolds and zinnias and bourge. In other words, I mix flowers and herbs with it. I already have some basil in there and I have some volunteer zinnias, so I'm gonna leave those in there. I would like maybe one more basil and some flowers. So I didn't bring those seeds outside because I didn't think about it, but I'm gonna go get those right quick. So I gathered me some stuff inside. I most definitely want to be careful not to overdo it. I love these things. But I want to make sure for sure I put a marigold in and a bourge because that's very, very important. I brought nasturtiums too, forgot about them. And now nasturtiums do act up the hotter it gets, but these plants will get bigger. So I think that they may be protected, I'm not sure. But I'll go ahead and put a few in. But yeah, let me put these in now. I'll start by putting a marigold in. And I see that there is a basil here. So I'll make sure that I take consideration into that. Then I'll take a couple of feet down and I'll put a bourge. And a couple feet down from that, I will put me a basil. This is kind of how I do it. On the end here, there's already a zinnia, so I'm going to skip the end. And right on the other end, I'm going to go ahead and put in a nasturtium. Then a little bit from that, I'm going to put another bourge. And then after that, I'm going to put a sunflower. And then I'm gonna put another marigold and call it a day down there. now I have this good portion replanted. And the thing I didn't tell you guys is that I have been doing a traveling nurse assignment for 9 months. It has come to an end this week, and I am very happy to tell you guys that I'm gonna have 12 weeks off this summer to focus on my business, to focus on my garden. So I'm very excited, and I'm gonna take it day by day. So today I got this portion done. Tomorrow and the next day and the next day, I plan on just slowly turning this garden over to the summer. I thank you guys for watching. Of course, I will water this bed.